taking some time out of your day to be with us. One of the things that we talk about in this Transformation Economy Collaborative is instead of time well spent, time well invested. And so we hope that you walk away today feeling like you invested really good time and energy and awareness into what we think is not just the future of tourism, but the future of business. I'm Jay Coppert, the co-founder and CEO of the Transformational Travel Council. We provide human-centered innovation for tourism around experience strategy, experience development, as well as regenerative development for communities. We have a global membership. We've got public courses and private trainings. And part of our work and time has been spent with the Stone Mantle crew over the last couple of years, diving deep into the emerging transformation economy. And for those that don't know, my friend and mentor, and I'm sure many of you have heard of him, Joe Pine, and advisor of the TTC, he wrote one of the biggest best-selling, most reputable business books of all time called The Experience Economy in the late 90s. And he did acknowledge that in his forecast that the transformation economy would come at some stage, and that would be the final stage of the economic progression, economic value. And here we are. That's what's emerging post-pandemic. That's coming up, and so Stone Mantle is leading that charge. Dave Norton is with us today. He is one of the co-founders of Stone Mantle. And then we have Arances Savas, who has been really leading the transformation charge within Stone Mantle and guiding our tourism roundtable, which is how we participate with the Transformation Economy Collaborative. So the TTC has a roundtable across the 7-year-long learning journey, and every year we invite individuals to join that roundtable, to take a seat at the table of the future of tourism and in this transformation economy. And so we have some past participants here with us, and we've got 4 spots left in this upcoming year, which is super exciting, getting together in person or virtually for 4 different summits, and really diving deep into defining and leading and measuring, this transformation economy, and also just taking it down into like, what are the practical frameworks? How can we really lean into this as businesses, across our category, hotels, destinations, communities, travel advisors, guides, you name it. It impacts us all. So with that, I want to say thanks again for being here, and I will kick it over to Arances and Dave, and they'll take us on a little journey here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro, Jake. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll recap a little of what Jake said very briefly. My goal, as Jake said, is to share with you some of the big highlights of our work over the past couple of years and to entice you to join us in the coming years. We're really, really proud of all the work that we've done and really excited about the work that's to come. A bit of background about me and why I'm leading the Transformation Collab for Stone Mantle. I have about 20 years of experience working with some of the world's largest brands on behavior change, meaningful motivation, and the integration of coaching frameworks into customer experiences. So think about how different it would be if your financial advisor we're asking the right questions and listening for the right information to guide you on a transformative journey. If your doctor were doing the same, if all of the service providers in your life knew how to listen and learn you and guide you to where you wanted to go. That's what I do. With many of the world's leading companies through Stone Mantle. I originally did that with Weight Watchers for many years, working with Oprah Winfrey on our 2020 Vision Tour on the experience strategy for that and beyond. So really excited to partner with both Stone Mantle and with the Transformational Travel Council. A bit more background here on Stone Mantle. We are the experience strategy company. Dave Norton, who you met a moment ago, is our founder, and we call him the experience strategy futurist. He has a long history of foreseeing the future of experience strategy, both because of his research work for individual companies, but also because of his analysis, really exploring the different frameworks and emerging ways that the best companies are recreating the game time and time again. All of that leads to customer needs and expectations that continually evolve. And so it becomes our job to stay on the cutting edge of what they want so that our clients, like you, can as well. One of the things we publish is our trend report, the Experience Strategy Trend Report. You can find that on our website, stonemantle.co, not .com. And we'd love to share that with you. We'll have another version of that hopefully coming out next year. But right now, lots of good stuff in there to sink your teeth into. We believe in collaboration. At our core, it is our core value and our core belief that all tides rise together. And with consumer trust at an all-time low globally across all sectors, it's more important than ever that across sectors we learn to work and play and be better for our customers together. And so we bring the best thinkers across a wide range of sectors together every year to share what's working, to share what isn't, and to solve big, hairy problems together. And in essence, that's our collaborative and what we've been so successful at doing for so many years. We have a strong foundation in the hospitality and travel industry, certainly working with TTC and others that have been a part of the Transformational Travel Collaborative, but also in our work with Marriott, Royal Caribbean, Orbitz, and many others over the years. In our collaborative, you'd have the opportunity to play with all these other brands, to get to know them, to strike up collaboration opportunities that serve both companies, and to really strengthen your own tool set while creating some innovative concepts that will hopefully change the game for your customers and your company. There are two key ways that we work with our clients. One is dedicated experience strategy project work, and the other is our experience strategy collaborative. So we've alluded to this a little bit, a little more information on it, and I'll go into more detail as we talk through this. It is an invitation to participate in a cross-sector, as I mentioned before, so it's across multiple different domains. Even though there is a dedicated group working on transformational travel, you'll have the opportunity to collaborate across other sectors to learn the best of what they're doing and bring it home. It is a forward-looking program, so it is innovation focused. We're not asking you to look necessarily at what's happening in your organization at this exact moment, but to think ahead. What will your customer want and need in the next 1 to 5 years? And how do you set yourself up to differentiate and compete based on what's coming? And it's a year-long program. And so it is a guided transformational journey led by the experts in transformational journeys. And we'll really take you on your own personal and professional journey in this program. So let's talk about the Transformation Economy Collaborative. So transformational travel is a part of a broader Transformation Economy Collaborative. So these are all companies from, again, multiple sectors, banking, healthcare, insurers, retail, you name it, who see the power of the transformation economy. Travel, well, our research has shown time and time again that when people think about transformation, the first thing they think about is travel. So travel is sort of a necessary component of understanding the transformation economy, but it isn't all that exists within the transformation economy. And so in this collaborative, we bring travel to work side by side with other companies that are focused on delivering transformation. So what do I mean by transformation? Well, I don't know about in your company, my company used to always talk about we've got a transformation project. It meant that we were going to transform like the state of the business, or we were going to do a restructuring. It meant all sorts of things. We don't mean that. What we mean is helping our customers succeed at goal-driven change. Since the beginning of history, people have sought after change based on their goals. In older times, that was traditionally led by perhaps tribal elders or religious leaders. In our more fractured and commercialized society, it's something that people increasingly hire companies to do it. They want to be more, they want to do better. We often talk about it as healthy, wealthy, wise, but certainly there's many more nuances than that. Unfortunately, it's much harder to do than you might think. And as Jake alluded to, it is really the pinnacle of the transformation of the progression of economic value that Joe talked about in his 1999 book. I can't believe it's been 25 years since he identified the transformation economy. At that time, we were just entering the experiences economy, and he's like, but there's one more stop, and we have arrived. If you are familiar with this progression that Jake alluded to, you'll be familiar with it. You'll know what I'm talking about, but just a quick primer for those of you for whom this is new. Really, our earliest economies were commodity based. So that was about, in order to have value there, you had to extract the commodity and provide it, right? We progressed then with increased customization up through these other levels. And with increased customization, the next stage was a goods-based economy. So people had to make things and provide them in order to add value. After that came the services economy. So we were tasked at that point as providers of services to deliver a service. Then came the experiences economy. And my background's all in theater. I know you wouldn't know from all this hand talking, but theater and experiences have a lot in common. They must be staged. They are designed to create a felt shift. But ultimately, where we have landed with the highest economic value is transformations, and transformations must be guided. They can't just be handed off and set up on a stage to look cute. One must guide through the transformation. And that's really where we excel and where we've helped our clients deliver increased value and maximize the impact of transformations. So as I said, it's really easy for companies to promise transformation. If you start to look for it, you'll see it everywhere. You'll be your best. You'll be richer than ever, healthier than ever. You name it, companies promise it. Unfortunately, and you see this, of course, in our latest trust reporting, customers know it's not true. And they end up increasingly disappointed and frustrated by the unfulfilled promises of the transformation economy. Because it's not easy to deliver on transformation. It has to be done in a really thoughtful and intentional way that understands the current state of the customer, their goals, what they need in order to make progress, and then the guidance to help them achieve that transformation. In our research, we have developed frameworks and tools that help deliver on the promises made. And you'll hear about a little of that today. By participating in this tourism roundtable within the Experience Strategy Collaboratives, we are able to promise you a number of really unique and powerful benefits. Number one, you're going to be a first mover in this emerging economy. You'll hear today how your own industry is talking about this economy, and hopefully that'll serve as a proof point about why we should all care about this right now. You'll become a certified experience strategist. So as a part of your membership, you'll be able to participate in our experience strategy certification program. It is a highly regarded certification program and the only one of its kind. You'll be invited to convene 4 times a year for 3-day summits. Those are hybrid summits, both virtual or in person offered, to join a non-competitive roundtable of 8 tourism brands, again, who will have the opportunity to collaborate across sectors in addition to that. And you'll co-create research, frameworks, and toolkits that you can then go use within your organization. I think this is probably one of the most important benefits listed here, because frankly, I think most of us, if we're here, we probably already know that the transformation economy is powerful. We're kind of maybe bought in to the value of transformation, but we may not know necessarily how to get it done well. So that's what we're here for, to use our proprietary research methods to help you answer those questions. And so each year we bring the teams together to ask their questions, turn those into powerful research studies, and then we offer them back as answers. that inevitably bring up more questions. So then we go and ask those on your behalf, and we ask them of the people you want to hear from. So if you want to hear from a US-based audience, a global audience, an audience of 20-somethings or 70-somethings, you name it, we're going to go after the audience that you want to hear from. So we'll be doing research on behalf of the Transformational Travel Council and that collaborative group, as well as all of these other groups, and you'll have access to both your research and much of the overarching research that we do on behalf of the collaboratives as a whole. You'll also get to collaborate with us. We've learned a lot over the years, and we really want to share it so that it can have impact. And so you'll be working directly with Jake, with Joe, and with myself, along with the rest of the Stone Mantle team, especially and including Dave. So what does that journey look like? It is a year-long journey, and it begins next month. In August, we kick off our certification series. That is a fully virtual program. It is offered for an hour, roughly, each week. Those are recorded, so they can be synchronous or asynchronous. At the end of that series, it runs from August 22nd to November 7th. Again, you will be awarded an Experience Strategy certification. Then in September, we'll have our first summit. During that summit, if you look down at the research row there at the bottom, we'll present to you our first round of discovery research, which will be our foundational understanding of what's changing right now and what we're seeing in terms of overarching patterns and trends that should start to inform some of your thinking in your category. That session will really invite you to start doing some new thought leadership and to start developing some frameworks based on what you know at that point. You'll start asking your first round of questions. Then we're going to go off and do that first round of research on your behalf. It'll be a qualitative study in field, again, talking to the people that you most want to hear from. And I'll share some examples of that in just a second. We'll come back to you in November, our second summit. We don't know where that'll be yet. We decide each summit's location on a quarterly basis. So September, we're going to be in Nashville, and in November, February, and May, TBD on destination. But during November, again, we'll provide you with the latest research. And then from there, it'll trigger more questions. You'll begin to develop concepts that you believe have potential to influence this audience. And we'll go into co-creation research with your target audience. So when we talk about co-creation research, it's a proprietary research method that we use in which we actually collaborate with your customer to develop concepts. We bring those results back to you in February. And then we turn those into, together over the course of that summit, a quantitative study. We field that between the February and the May summits, and then we come back in May with those results. You're not waiting for research from September to May. To be very clear, you're getting new research reports that you can use and activate around in your organization at every single one of these summits. And so it's really valuable. You know, when I first joined this, and I was a participant before, I was a collaborator in the program. And for me, it just seemed like a no-brainer to join because for way less than the cost of a single research study, I was getting all this added value. And hopefully you're already kind of seeing the same thing as I described this. It is a multi-year study. As Jake alluded to, we're really committed to a 7-year study on this. Our year one goal was first and foremost to size the transformational travel economy, to understand what we were really talking about and what this potential was that was unfulfilled. And then to establish the transformational traveler profile baseline. So I'm going to share some highlights of that with you in a moment. Our year two goal was to understand the transformational travel industry needs and barriers. So we talked to a lot of industry folks. We did talk to some more customers, but we really focused our inquiry on understanding what was getting in the way for the industry itself and what was needed in order to activate systemic change toward transformational travel and to turn this idea into a true movement that met the needs of customers. Year three goal, you're going to decide as a participant, and that's what makes this so dynamic and exciting. So for 2024-25, we are going to develop a deeper understanding of that transformational travel, but you as a member would influence how that research is shaped, what the key questions are, and what the goals are. Then we'll go off conduct that bespoke research on behalf of the Roundtable using our proprietary methodologies. Some of the questions we might explore next year, depending on the needs of the participants, are how to market to transformational travels, the demographic and psychographic profiles of transformational travelers, how to mass customize transformational travel. I think that's one of the big sticking points we saw on the industry side. And then how to delight transformational travels, but really that'll be decided by you as a group. So a few highlights here before we get into Q&A. So I've said that we measured the growth and impact of the US transformational travel industry. We found that it's keeping pace with lower cost services and experiences, but you really see here in this teal line how this niche segment is almost on par with these more defined, long historical, more well-known aspects of the economy. This reporting came directly from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis. We hired an independent consultant to conduct this analysis on our behalf. We used 4 different methodologies for defining transformational travel for this in order to validate the hypotheses here and feel really confident in the potential growth and continued growth. If I were to zoom in here a little bit further, what you would see is that the transformation line is beginning slowly to creep past the experiences line in terms of potential for growth. You also see here, of course, the rebound that we were observing coming out of 2020. Transformations rebounded slightly faster, and probably no surprise given the experience of being in a pandemic, it's rebounded slightly faster than experiences and services. We also conducted co-creation research with consumers. Now, this is a bit of an eye chart, and I'm not going to ask you to read through it, but I wanted to demonstrate for you a bit of what our co-creation research looked like and some of the data that you'll have access to as a participant, because everything we learned in year 1 and 2 will be yours to use if you sign up for year 3. So I'm going to show you a bit of the methodology here, but the results of it in more detail will be shared with you as a participant. And we have lots and lots of well-synthesized data to share with you on this front that you can begin activating on even before the program starts this year. So we tested a preliminary concept around transformational travel. You can read it here in the middle. And then we talked to a range of consumers about what they liked, what they didn't, what turned them on and excited them. And really what you see here is that people are excited about stepping out of their comfort zone. And they're excited about creating magic that stays alive beyond the journey. But in the end, what we found is that they didn't feel incredibly well supported to keep that magic alive, nor was there a strong consensus about the definition of transformational travel. So more on that in just a minute. We also explored the mental model of transformational travel. So across a number of different axes, we tried to understand how they thought about transformation. Is it something that is permanent or just a short-term change? Is it something that happens very quickly, or does it happen over time? And we labeled those as characteristic, styled, core, and adaptive. And there's actually room for transformational travel to play in all 4 of those quadrants. And in here, you can start to see some of the results that came from that and some of our recommendations about how to succeed depending on the type of transformation that your consumer wants and needs. We also mapped transformational travel drivers. So a transformation requires that there is a catalyst, right? And those usually are caused by one of 3 things. There's going to be some sort of disruption, some sort of discomfort, or a desire for change, right? And so from a transformational travel standpoint, the 3 biggest catalysts were life milestones, new relationships. New relationships are huge. We did more quant on that this year. The verbatims are fascinating, but breakups and makeups are big drivers for a desire for transformational travel. mostly breakups. And mission and purpose. So a desire to have a positive impact. And those three really, as we synthesize that data in year one, tended to be the key drivers for transformational travel specifically. In terms of seeing different, so see different is just sort of my little shorthand for people want a new point of view. And travel's so good at creating that, for giving us a different lens on the world. And inherently, I think we've probably all experienced that and value that. And so when we asked travelers what they wanted to, how they wanted to see differently with transformational travel, it was really about having a new point of view on the world, ideally that we could bring back into our life post journey. They could better understand the world and have an expanded perspective that represented others' views. We'd use do different as a way of explaining how people get that new perspective. And through travel, it was really about leaving their comfort zone, about moments of synchronicity that felt like magic, authenticity. So feeling like I was in an experience that wasn't artfully designed to change me, but that was really real. And increasingly, customers are able to see that which is authentic and that which is designed to look authentic. A sense of personal agency. So it was important to travelers to feel like they were free to explore. And that really goes back to that desire for synchronicity. Moments of true human connection were really important to that. Learning how others live, very much linked to the other perspective. And then having some sort of emotional response, whether it's feeling happy or calm or at peace or more knowledgeable. And then I want to be different, right? In general, I want to feel a sense of personal growth, or I want to feel more brave and confident. Many people talked about wanting to feel more open-minded. And I just have some sort of change in perception. And those were kind of the lasting outcomes that people wanted to carry forward with them. Year two highlights. So we conducted 3 key studies last year. The first was a set of roundtable discussions and one-on-one interviews with industry leaders that Joe Pine hosted. The second was a quant study of over 1,500 Americans to understand their perceptions, barriers, and drivers for our transformational experiences. That was a part of the overall transformational collaborative. And a quant study of 272 industry leaders from the travel industry to understand their perceptions, barriers, and drivers for transformational travel experiences. So we talked to lots of representatives from the travel industry, from destinations and providers. We've listed just a couple of the companies that are represented here, but there were many, many more. We had a number of 10 company panels, in addition to, I think, 10 total one-on-ones with senior executives from some of the biggest companies in the industry. These were Joe's key takeaways from that round of research. Number one, this is a fractured idea at this point. And so there's a real need to create some alignment and consistency in terms of how we think about and talk about transformational travel. Places specifically have a dire need for figuring this out. That's both individual destinations and individual companies. Consumer demand is there. And this is, I'll show you from the consumer side that the demand is there in a minute, but this is from the industry side. The industry knows the demand is there from consumers, but it's just feels too hard, frankly, to meet that need in a haphazard industry, in a haphazard, without a synchronized and aligned approach to it. There hasn't been much thought about what it means to care for a traveler and guide them on a transformation. And we heard that time and time again from these senior executives who said, I know we need to do this, we just haven't cracked the nut on how. The same is true that asking travelers to make commitments seems like a good idea, but nobody's quite figured out how to do it. And most organizations don't even try. And similarly, organizations recognize the value of interacting with customers before and after the travel journey, but not that much is being done. Again, all for that same top reason. Haven't quite figured out how to do it. We haven't figured out how to do it in a scalable and aligned way. Then we went and talked to customers. And like I said, this was over 1,500 customers in the US. This was in April of this year. And we talked to them about transformation. And so here are some of the key takeaways from that work. People are pretty confident in their ability to create change. Over 50% said, yeah, I can create change on my own. The other 48% said, I need help. And in general, what you're seeing is that health and emotional and personal well-being are the goals that we feel most confident achieving, but financial goals are the ones we are least likely to achieve. We are most motivated to seek growth or change when it impacts life satisfaction and finances because they are so important to us. In general, what people want out of transformation, you'll hear the word knowledge over and over and over again. I want to be smarter about this stuff. I want to make better decisions. And so it's very much linked into three core areas: knowledge, confidence, and productivity. And then when we ask them how they want to be supported, in essence, they say, help me be more knowledgeable, confident, and productive. Key takeaway number 3, money and time continue to be our biggest perceived barriers to change. And so interestingly, increasingly, we're seeing an improved recognition from consumers about the importance of taking small steps and setting goals that work. And that's increased year over year. They define transformation. So again, we were asking like, what is a transformation? How do you define that? And basically they said, it's something I've planned for. I've said, I am seeking this change and I'm making a plan to accomplish that goal. It's systemic. It impacts ideally more than one area of my life, ideally my whole life. Everything changes and I'm willing to invest in it. And there's variation across all these skills, but everything tilts toward these higher investment rewards. Number 5, we ask them about the word transformation. And you'll hear Jake talk about this perhaps in a bit. He cautions, even as the leader of the Transformational Travel Council, he counsels against using the word transformation in marketing for lots of reasons. But as we talked to customers about what that word meant, it was a little overwhelming. It was a little scary. And frankly, I don't think there was a ton of trust in anybody's ability to transform. However, they were very excited by the idea of growth or improvement, right? It sounded more tangible, perhaps more feasible, and just created more confidence and excitement about the participation. We also found that words like reshaping and shift did not perform well. So lots more data on there, but I wanted to share with you the top line because I found it really interesting. Our third study was Industry Quant with 272 participants who represented a broad range of companies in tourism globally. We gave them a specific definition of transformational travel, one that defined it as encapsulating the pursuit of meaningful travel experiences that foster personal growth, nurture nature, and enrich both visited and home communities. It transcends mere activities, aiming for impactful change by customizing journeys to fulfill specific transformative goals. So here's what we found from that. From the 272 industry leaders who were surveyed, number 1, they said there's a strong foundation in place for expanding transformational travel. They get that it's important. They see the economic benefits of transformational travel, especially for the traveler themselves, but for the industry as a whole. And 71% agreed with our definition of transformational travel. However, change management continues to be the major sticking point. Across a wide range of roles, across a wide range of representatives throughout the industry, people told us again and again, sounds great, I can't figure out how to get it done. It's hard to bring my team together because it represents such a big shift for how we do business and how we talk about what we do. We need help there. Number three, if we're going to do it, we have to deliver economic, personal, and societal, social, cultural impact. And we have lots more data on this, but in general, it's about delivering on the promises made, but it is holistic, right? So taking a fractured approach to it ultimately will do more harm to the economy than good. And so really, I think what the industry as a whole is saying is, okay, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's do it in a way that benefits people and places. Finally, transformational design is happening, but probably not. And we saw this from the executives. If you remember that first slide there, transformational design is happening, but probably not in the ways that are going to be most memorable and meaningful to the travelers. So that goes back to what I was saying before about we're not necessarily staying in touch with them after the journey. We're not necessarily asking them to set good goals. We're not necessarily measuring the success in the way that they do. Again, just wanted to share with you top line here because there's so much more to cover. We created 2 new frameworks last year that we're really excited by. This is the transformational guidance framework that really maps out the tool set by which you would successfully guide a transformation with that trust at the intersection, which is something you've probably already heard me say a bunch of times in the last few minutes. We've also developed a new coaching framework. We're seeing a paradigm shift in terms of what people want from coaching. In the past, they wanted advice and programs and motivation. They wanted it to be episodic and hourly. Now, across all sectors, we're seeing something that is much more rooted in big data, troubleshooting, micro-diagnostic assistance, something that is powered by technology, but delivered by human beings who have access to powerful technology. Something that is always on and accessible, and which they can provide lasting relationships with. There's an appetite now from consumers to make big changes followed by little tweaks, and they really value preventative, anticipatory identification of issues to help them stay ahead of their own hurdles. And these are just the types of frameworks that we'll continue to develop in future years. So all this to say that we've learned a lot. We can't wait to share it. We can't wait to help more companies benefit from this work, what's been done and what's ahead. And so we want to invite you all to join us for year 3, to join us for the 4 hybrid quarterly summits with thought leaders from these other non-competitive complementary companies focused on travel. You'll learn new tools and frameworks. You'll create concepts. You'll commission research. You'll challenge your old assumptions. You'll develop and deepen relationships and communication within transformational travel and beyond. And then we'll go off and do all the research on your behalf so that you can keep learning and impacting your organization. In terms of cost, you'll see many teams join as a team. So let's take Best Buy. They'll join as a team of 2 to 5 folks. And we'll do research specifically for Best Buy. Those teams pay $85,000 a year to participate. Some teams bring in multiple teams. The American Academy of Family Physicians joined last year with 3 teams. All 3 of those teams had research, and that's roughly $150,000 a year. Sometimes, though, an individual will come in by themselves as a participant, and that's $25,000 a year. But through our relationship with the Transformational Travel Council and our agreement and partnership with them, we offer for participation in this roundtable a seat within the roundtable for just $12,000 a year. And that gets you access to all that great research, past and future, as well as the summits and all the collaboration that comes with that. Whew. So that was a lot from me. I'm going to stop sharing and hand things over to my pal Jake. And now I can see y'all's face again.
Yeah, thank you, Arancis. That was great. It was interesting to sort of go back in time and see what we've accomplished over the last couple of years. We've definitely come a long way, thanks to you and Stone Mantle and our roundtables. Anyway, any questions from the group? Any comments? Would love to hear them. Yeah, hi, Gordon. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, hi. That was kind of astounding. I've been in sales since 1977, and that, honestly is one of the best presentations I've seen. Um, so one of the things we're doing at Regenesis Reno is we're working a lot with the economic development agency, and just starting actually with the Visitor and Convention Authority. Are there any case studies of one of your members working with both economic development and the DMO that we could learn a lot from? Hopefully more than one case study. Thanks.
Yeah, so we've worked with a handful of destinations and DMOs over the last few years on adopting the transformation economy and integrating transformative principles and practices on that community-based level, and then also with that with individual stakeholders, your guides, your operators, your hoteliers, and so some of those results are still coming forward, and we've got some case studies that we're putting together. Including a white paper.
I'm sorry, I meant very
studies.
specifically. I meant very specifically working with an economic development agency. We want to get $50,000 from the economic development agency and $50,000 from the Convention and Visitor Authority. For 100,000, and it's there are two different angles, right? There's the home community and there's the visitors. I'm just wondering, are there best practices that have been implemented that you could point to a case study? Thanks.
Yeah, I'd say it would be in Camino Island and Willamette Valley in Travel, Oregon. Both of them have adopted these practices and principles, and they are in the process of measuring the impact of these practices and principles, and so they can continue on this path and journey with us. What we're encountering with a lot of DMOs is just a misunderstanding. They don't quite understand what the value is. So here we are, that's why we're doing this research, is so we can make a compelling case that there truly is value in adopting these practices and principles, and we're starting to see some of those break through more and more as we work with more destinations, but it typically can be an arduous slog. I mean, that's what there's really beautiful things about being first movers, but there's also challenges with that, right?
Yeah. Hey, Gordon, another thought for you. We did a lot of work for Ketchikan, Alaska, for where we were working with both parties, and also with Huntington Beach, where we were working with both Pensacola, Florida. So it might be interesting to compare some notes off line and talk about it, because certainly their communities should be investing in transformational travel. I think the work that Ketchikan did was tremendous, way ahead of its time. Anchorage, Alaska also did some work, but there's definitely a case study around Ketchikan to take a look at.
Thank you, Gordon. Any other questions? Welcome, Ivana. Ivana is our head of education and research, and she was just teaching a course and jumped in, and she's part of this collaborative as well.
Hello, everyone.
I have
Thank you.
Yes, question.
Yes, hi. I have a question.
Hi,
Could you explain, hi there, the breakdown of the costs, like what's included? Does that mean the four summits are fully included? I mean, 12 grand for me is pricey, so I really need to see like what the value is and where I could really, take this to the next level. And I'm more curious about the actual cost breakdown of what's.
Yeah, so everything is included in that 12,000 other than your own travel. It will be, assuming you decide to come in person, which we highly recommend. But the summits themselves are included, as well as all of that research, as well as the toolkits and all of the findings that come with these sessions.
And the certification, by the way,
certification,
which is incredible for you guys, because many of the other participants in the certification program are paying $5,000 just for the certification. So it's an incredible deal that way.
Okay, thanks. I'll have to think about it, but thank you. Maybe I'll
Thank
have
you,
to
Sarah.
mull on it some more.
Yeah, let us know if you have any other specific questions on that.
Any other questions? Hi, Tulia. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. Any questions for us? Any curiosities?
One thing that did spark my curiosity was the research you did on the 1,500 people. It was only in the US. Have you done any research outside of the US? Because Americans are very different to European.
Yes.
Yeah.
The nature of the companies that were participating, we focused on the US in this case, but certainly we have the potential to expand that globally. It's really a matter of what the companies need, and that's what defines that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It is because we are, and I would just add on to that, because we are combining your funds with everyone else's funds to accomplish the goals. We have to set some limits around the type of research that we do. But to Arances's point, we're trying very hard to make sure that we're working with your target audiences.
Okay, thank you. I'm based in Italy, and of course, our target
Bravo.
is mostly European. I would say 95% of our clients are European. So,
Mhm.
and they're very different.
And we certainly can do that. Yeah, they are different. And we've done quite a bit of research with Europeans, so we understand.
One of our teammates just moved to Paris, which makes it even easier now.
Oh, that's nice. Good place to be.
Yes, indeed.
And Tulia, I'd say from our engagement with our membership and our community, our European members and their audience are typically more comfortable with this content, more evolved in general. So I would say that it would be amplified, some of these trends and data that we're seeing in Europe over the US.
Right.
Okay. Hello, Anne. Any questions or curiosities from you?
No,
No.
thank you. I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. And Sally, how about you? Sally's is on the board of the TTC and has been part of this collaborative as well.
No, I will just say from a personal perspective, I mean, I was very involved in the year one of the collaborative, and I thought it was an extraordinarily enriching experience, and and one that personally and professionally was extremely valuable. So, yeah, that's all I really have to add.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of the
Unmuted for a
summits.
second there. What's that?
Oh, I just said one of my favorite parts is the summits, getting us all together, right? The very much a think tank environment, and opportunities to do meaningful work, but also the opportunity to get out and connect and to have experiences in these places that we visit.
Yes, it's very stimulating.
And
It
connecting
is.
with the other companies, other industries where, with people you would
Yeah.
not normally intersect with. I think that was highly valuable.
It was fun too to see the collaborations forging. So who would have thought that Sierra Club and the AAFP, the American Academy of Family Physicians, had such overlapping audiences and goals, and both companies walked away so excited to create new innovation concepts for their individual companies through the collaboration. It's been really thrilling to watch that continue, but it's just one of many examples where that happens.
Yeah, and I will say, as far as I know, as of today, Disney is planning to be a part this year. So for those of you that are in the travel category, if you want to listen in on how they're trying to solve for similar challenges, this would be a great year to participate. because I think they're going to be involved. They have been involved in the past, and they have wanted to be involved. I think the timing this year is right for them to participate again.
All right, we got a few minutes left. Any other good juicy questions that you'd like to bring to us?
Curious, speaking of the other industries, where do you see other industries having intersected well with travel around these conversations?
Oh man.
Well, I had one little personal experience in just year one. I wasn't active so much, Wendy, in year two, but Truist actually reached out to me because they were doing a whole article in their magazine that they mailed to all of their clients, and they wanted to learn more specifically about wellness travel and its power to transform. So that was kind of a fun, and it's making me realize I need to reach out to my contact at Truist and say hi. But that, they are a bank and a private wealth management entity, so both. And it was just a wonderful connection because they really had a strong interest also in travel for their clients.
Yeah, no, the AFP one was interesting because what they were trying to do is come up with new ways to reward family physicians. And these family physicians are just like salt of the earth, and they were so interesting to research, but they're extremely burnt out. And so while Sierra Club was looking for new people within that exact demographic to become travelers on their programs, the AFP was looking for meaningful ways to help these poor burned out family physicians. And so it worked out just sort of perfectly. But certainly there are opportunities to collaborate across healthcare, finance, even retail, I think has potential depending on what your product or service is.
I spent 15 years at REI in their experiences division, so I know about retail and experiences.
Wow.
Yes, for sure. We had Best Buy and Transformational Collaborative last year, and that was really interesting too, thinking about how to create a transformational experience of buying technology and asking the right questions so that you really understood what people's dreams and goals were for using that technology to reduce returns and also to create new value through the experience of the purchase itself. And so, yeah, really, really cool questions being asked. But REI is a great role model on that and a great intersection between travel and retail.
Yeah, I saw a little bit in the with Edward Jones Financial in terms of like looking at it more holistically, not just helping people become a better you, but a better life, right? And life planning, which, I think travel is a really great opportunity to take that approach too. Be more holistic, not only who do you want to become, but how do you want to be at home? How do you want to be in your community, etc.
That's
So
a
I saw
great
some
point.
overlap there.
Yeah, and Edward Jones is one of the nation's leading financial advisories for those who are out of the U.S.
Yeah,
But
I should
we
mention
have like Avery Dennison was in the Transformation Collaborative, and there were some interesting ones there too. I mean, what they were trying to do is figure out how to, because so many in the transformational travel industry are thinking about the impact on nature. Well, Avery is looking at the long-term sustainability of fabrics and how you track fabrics in such a way that it allows people to feel a long-term relationship with their purchases. And so, yeah, there was some overlapping research there as well, I think.
One thing I want to mention before we go here, and we've just got a couple minutes left, is this is a global roundtable. We've had participants outside of the U.S. and North America participate as well. Ivana, who is based in Serbia, and she stays up very late, but she does show up. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Or Japan.
Japan as well.
Yeah, Ecuador.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a global participation.
Yes.
Absolutely. So anyway,
Portugal, yes, the Azores
and Portugal, keep them coming.
Yeah, we had Ecuador, we had Portugal, we had
Yeah.
Japan, and that was it. And Serbia. Yes, what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk in tourism about innovation and transformation, and this is just a real opportunity to get into, really practical frameworks, techniques, and tools that help you go beyond promising, as Aransas mentioned, and really start to deliver. And with that, provide really incredible value. We talk about transformational travelers. They tell better stories. They're more loyal. They provide more referrals, they stay longer, they spend more typically, right? And they're also typically more environmentally and socially conscious. So it's this just really beautiful confluence in our industry to really tap into, and this collaborative is an enlightening experience. And I invite you all to consider taking part of it. So looks like we're right on
Reach
the
out if
button.
you have any questions. We'd love to hear
Yeah,
from
please do.
you. Yeah, and stay connected. Thank you for the link, Wendy.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Enjoy your day.
Yep. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.